Now this is really quite exciting. This is the new Canon C400, a brand new EOS cinema camera with an RF mount, a full frame sensor. Ooh, there's a lot to be excited about here. Now, I've not had this for very long, so we're going to do kind of a first look overview of what's exciting about this camera, but I am hoping to get this back hopefully sometime this year to be able to do a full hands-on review, really shoot some stuff with it, really get into it. But that said, there's still quite a lot to be excited about with this camera. And if you are in the space of using something like a C300 or a C500, this is exciting because number one, like I say, RF mount, right? That gives you a lot of scope for the kinds of lenses that you're going to be using. Those lenses are typically lighter. You've got some beautiful image quality. There's a lot of versatility in the way you can shoot. And that actually is a big theme of the C400. There's a lot of versatility with this camera, more so, at least from my point of view, than there has been maybe in previous cinema cameras of this level, right? I really feel like with this camera, I can shoot in lots of different ways, right? I'm not just kind of pigeonholed into certain ways of shooting. I can run a gun by myself much more comfortably. Now inside, we've got a 6K full frame BSI sensor. So that's full frame, which I think is a really interesting choice by itself. I think that's great to see on a camera like this. That's 16 stops of dynamic range, faster sensor readout, and better rolling shutter performance as well. So we see just general improvements across the board. I also think full frame, I think that's great. You can get slightly better image quality. You can get things like slightly better light gathering. I think it's genuinely great to see. We've also got dual pixel CMOS AF2 in here, which gives us improved autofocus performance, people and animal subject detection. We've got eye, face, head tracking. So there's great ways to use the autofocus. And again, this just adds to that versatility, especially like someone like me shooting completely by myself. I'd be very comfortable either hand holding this on a tripod, doing things like interviews. I'm going to get very high quality stuff, but then I could do promo videos. I can do so much with a camera like this. And there's also just loads of ways to actually shoot, as you would expect, of course, but things like 6K, 60p, 4K, that's oversampled, up to 120 frames a second, that's 422 10-bit. We can do 6K RAW. We've got frame-by-frame metadata, higher audio bit rates, so 16-bit to 24-bit. We've got new manual and auto base ISO modes. And as I mentioned before, we've got image stabilization. So we've got digital image stabilization in camera, which then works in tandem with the optical image stabilization of the lens that you have on the front to give you a smoother image handheld. Now, something I do like about cameras like this, actually, is that generally speaking, I find it easier, especially with this lovely hand grip on the side, to get smooth shots because the whole system is just a little bit bigger, you know, than a classic kind of mirrorless camera, right? It's a little bit bigger, maybe there's a little bit more weight to it. You've got a monitor on the top. I just find it a little bit easier, especially if you maybe put a handle on the top, to get those slightly smoother handheld shots, because I just think your movements are just a little bit smoother because of that weight and size. But of course, you could just pop this on a gimbal, on a tripod, on a slider, on a drone even. There's a lot that you could do with this camera. And of course, in terms of connectivity, you're going to be right at home if you've used any of these cinema cameras before, but we also see things like an Ethernet port, DIM port, we've got tally lamps on the camera. There's just a lot to look at here. You know, on one hand, you're going to be right at home, right? If you're coming from the C300, the C500, even some of the C200, you're going to be right at home jumping onto the C400. If it's your first cinema camera and you're coming from a mirrorless camera, I think you're actually going to feel very at home here as well, because there's a lot now that's carried over from those cameras. You know, great autofocus, image stabilization, full frame sensor. There's a lot that you're going to be used to. But on the other hand, there's a lot that's new to this camera. There's a lot that feels like a nice upgrade, like a really nice upgrade. And as a cinema camera, I think that this really does feel like a new generation of that for Canon. And I think it's great to see. I cannot wait, I'll be honest with you, I cannot wait to really test this out, to really get some time with it and get hands-on properly, out and about, in the studio, just trying out lots of different stuff and really put something together. I think that'd be so, I cannot wait. Now you can check out the full spec, everything that you want to know, the pricing, everything, by checking out the link down in the description. I'll pop that all down there for you so you can go check it all out. Otherwise, don't forget to like and subscribe because there's new content all the time. I will see you in the next video, but until then, as always, thanks for watching.